Hey kings, hey queens, Jessica here again with another word of encouragement for you. But before I get into my videos, I have to remind you of how awesome, how amazing, how beautiful, how gifted, how handsome, how unique, how talented you all are. And above all things, that you are the carriers of purpose. You were created for a purpose. Purpose lives within you. God made you special. He made you unique. He made you in His own image and in His own likeness. He wanted you to be here for such a time like this. So He has kept you here. He has kept you by His perfect will and His perfect grace. Today I want to speak to us on the topic, do not despise process. And I'll be reading to us from 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 10 to 12. Let me get into the scripture. And it reads, Jesse had 7 of his sons passed before Samuel, but Samuel said to him, the Lord had not chosen these. So he asked Jesse, are these all the sons you have? There is still the youngest, Jesse answered. He is tending to the sheep. Samuel said, send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives. So he sent for him and he brought him in. He was glowing with health and he had fine appearance and handsome feature. Then the Lord said, arise and anoint him. This is the one. Now here we have David being anointed for king. He was already appointed by God to be king because the Lord was no longer pleased with Saul, who was the reigning king. So he sent Samuel to go and find a king from out of the sons of Jesse to anoint. We see David being the youngest and he's been anointed as king. He was the one who was in charge of taking care of his father's sheep. Now, after David was anointed, David was not to be king immediately because Saul was still sitting in the throne as king. So there was a process that David had to go through. In that process, he had to go back to taking care of his father's sheep. He had to go back to bringing lunch to his brothers who were in the army working for the king Saul at the time. Another part of the process was that he would later have to defeat the giant Goliath on the behalf of his people. No, I don't know what it is that your purpose. I don't know what your purpose is. You know, and God knows what your purpose is. He has anointed you and appointed you for your purpose. And the time is not yet come for it to be fulfilled because you are still going through the process. Like we say, process is the steps that we go through, we take in order to accomplish an end product. For gold to be perfected, to be purified, it has to go through fire. For wine to be made, grapes have to be crushed. I remember growing up, I used to visit my cousin in Geisel, and she used to pick apples from the tree. There were a lot of apples and she would pick the apples from the tree. We would cut them in small portions and she had some bottles that she would put the wine in. After she cut the apples and she put them in the bottles, she would then lock them away in a part of the cupboard that no one else was going to disturb them. Because when the wine is to be purified, you cannot disturb it while it is going through its process. It just has to stay there and it has to go through what it has to go through. If you take it out of that cupboard before time, it will not be the end product that you are trying to accomplish. You have been chosen, you have been appointed for your purpose, and you are going through your process, but along the way you feel like giving up. You feel like you just can't take it. You can't take the heat of the fire that is purifying you into that perfect goal that you are called to become. You cannot bear the fire, you cannot bear the crushing that is crushing you for you to be fermented into that perfect wine that God has called you to be. You cannot bear the trials that you are going through, that God has given you, allowed you to be going through in order to write that book that you are supposed to write, in order to impact the lives of those people that you are supposed to impact. You feel like giving up. You feel like you cannot endure the process. Now look at David. David was anointed. He knew he was anointed to be king. He did not go and say, oh, I want to overthrow Saul. I want to make a plot in order to get rid of Saul. No, he went back to taking care of his father's sheep. While David was out there taking care of his father's sheep, a part of the process that he had to go through, he had to defeat the lion and the bear when they came to attack the sheep that he was tending to. This was a part of his training. This was a part of the process that David had to go through. What is your process that you are going through? What are the lions and the bears that you are there? You have to be slaughtering. You have to conquer in order to get to your purpose. No, look at it. David was there. He was slewing bears. He was slewing lions in order to protect the sheep. No, who would have guessed that David would have to slay a giant, this giant Goliath, in order to protect his people? Now the giant was raging war against the people of Israel, and there was no one that was bold enough to go up against him. But David knew the training he had. He knew what God had allowed him to go through. So he was not afraid to go up before this giant, and not only to go up before him, he was confident that he would defeat him. No, God is allowing you to go through your process so that you can develop a confidence to go out there and to stand boldly before the audience and to declare what he has carried you through. He has appointed you and anointed you to go out there and to stand firm before the people and to say, I will stand up for what I believe in. I have a purpose to fulfill, and I did not abort the process, so I have gone through and I have overcome. We oftentimes say, what don't kill you make you stronger. Do you believe that? Do you believe that what don't kill you make you stronger? Sometimes we focus so much on the process that we're going through, the pain in the process, the crushing in the process, that we miss the lessons that we're learning. Those processes that you're going through, they are there. They are laying the foundation for what God is taking you to, the purpose that you were created to accomplish. Now, in order for someone to go into a theater and to perform a surgery, one as complicated as a brain surgery, they have to go to high school, they have to accomplish their education, they have to go to medical school, and they have to accomplish the requisite training, the requisite skills in order to go in that theater and to perform that surgery. There is a process to whatever we are trying to accomplish. It does not matter how insignificant it seems, the process is important. And if we skip the process, we will not become that perfect end product that God expects us to be. Now, it's coming up to Christmas, and I know a lot of people will be making cakes. So you go into the supermarket, you buy all your products to make your cake. You blend what is to be blended, and you mix the mixture. You mix the batter and you have it there. You pour it into your baking tins and you place it on the counter. You have not yet lit that oven. The cakes are sitting on the counter, and you leave them there for the time that they are supposed to be in the oven and bake. Now, without putting those cake mixture into the oven, how are they going to become that perfect cake that you want to share with your family and your friends? Just like the cake has a process to go through, just like the gold has to pass through the refiner's fire, just like the grapes has to be crushed to become wine, so too do we have to go through a process to become that vessel which God has created us to be. Jeremiah said he went down to the potter's house and he saw the potter building a vessel. But when he looked at the vessel was marred. It was not perfect. It was marred in the hand of the potter. So the potter broke the clay. He broke that vessel into pieces. He wet it and he remolded it. And he went about working on it again until it became that perfected vessel that he was trying to accomplish. God is breaking you. God is molding you because he wants you to become the vessel that he knows you can be. That vessel that he has created you to be. He wants you to accomplish that purpose that he has placed inside of you, that you feel that you are not good enough to accomplish. Everything that you are going through today is a part of your preparation process. It is a part of the process to prepare you for greater that God will do in your life. Remember, my friends, remember my viewers, remember my subscribers, you are the carriers of purpose. Purpose lives within you. You are not an afterthought. You are not a mistake. So whatever you do, stay on board. Do not jump ship. Do not abort the process. Do not despise the process either. Stay on board and allow God to mold you into that perfect vessel that He has created you to be in order to fulfill your purpose. God bless you. Have an amazing day.